Well, good morning. Welcome to the 11:11 gathering. This is Frank in Williamsburg. Happy to see you here. And if you're joining us later by way of the recording, then glad you managed to find us. Well, you've joined us today as we continue our journey through the book, Faith Without Religion. And today we've arrived at entry number 38, which is an interesting diversion from how they usually are constructed. This one is actually about a dream. And it's called The Dream About the Levels. Now, there was a kind of setting the scene piece about this, so I'll do that piece first. And it says here, to take a true refreshing time, you must leave the place of your labor. You cannot successfully and fully give your attention to me if you are surrounded by the environment that has worldly connections in plain view. Detach yourself and put yourself away for that time so that you truly have an opportunity to be refreshed, says God. Consider the dream that you had, for I have provided you with the interpretation. So we'll get to that in just a second, but to start off with, I just want to help frame this idea of a refreshing time. So a number of years ago, the Lord actually gave me an instruction that during each day, I should set aside little snippets of time just to reconnect with Him, just to stir up the spirit and refocus myself in a way that hopefully meant I was being led by the Spirit and not by my own understanding of current situations. So He called these times refreshing times. So what you do is just for a period, it could be as little as 5 minutes. You just take yourself away from your work, get in a quiet place, reconnect with the Spirit, pray, read something in the Word if you can, but just take a time just to cleanse yourself momentarily from everything that's going on around you in the world. And you'll find that you'll be more productive, more focused, and will just feel lighter and better, because you know you're being led by His Spirit. So if you're not taking refreshing times already, schedule a few into your day. It could be 3 or 4 scattered around the course of the day. I like to do them every 2 or 3 hours at least. And it doesn't take much. It doesn't matter what job you have. You can find a way of moving away from what you're doing, unless you're a surgeon or something like that. In the middle of doing something, you can usually find yourself a way of just getting a little bit of quiet time, recharge those spiritual batteries, and then get back to the task. So let's talk about this dream that I had and that the interpretation that the Lord gave me about it. So here's the dream. I was on a boat, and it appeared to be a beautiful, luxurious vessel. It did not seem to be particularly large, as it was being tossed around in increasingly stormy seas. I suddenly noticed that I was completely alone on this boat. Everyone else had left. I was in the area where all the controls and navigation equipment are situated. Everything looked incredibly sophisticated, and although the sea was rough, it appeared that the boat was able to withstand the storm. Having no idea what to do, I began to search around for some kind of instructions as to how I might steer this boat out of the storm. In one of the cupboards, I found what appeared to be a handbook. I started to read, and it said that in these conditions, it was best to open one of the hatches and go down to one of the lower decks. I hadn't even realized that there were lower decks. I looked around, and sure enough, there was a hatch in the floor. I opened it and proceeded down the steps. The next level that I got to resembled part of a huge cruise ship. There were plush carpet and furnishings, and I could see the entrance to the casino. There were lots of people moving around, and there seemed to be an air of uncertainty. The carpets were wet, and in some areas, I would see water leaking through quite severely. I then felt urged to go deeper, and so I proceeded down to the next level. This was like a different world. At this level, the boat was completely calm. There were a huge electronic map on the wall, and you could clearly see the position of the vessel and exactly where it was going. The people at this level all seemed to be calm and self-assured. The fear and chaos of the other levels were nowhere in evidence. So having had that dream, I must have woken up at that point, and I asked the Lord, well, what does this all mean? And here's what he told me. The upper level, the first place I found myself to be in, represented the new believer. Here he is having the opportunity to take the helm of his own life and guide it where his will dictates. The fact that he appeared to be safe from the rough sea mirrors the sense of comfort and assurance we all experience in those days early after our conversion. The handbook that was discovered represents the handbook that every believer has access to, the Word of God. The instruction to go down to a lower level was guiding the reader to start descending into the Word. The first level I appeared at was representative of where so many people end up. That the water was leaking in was representative of the fact that even though they are in the Word, there are other things leaking in from the world, dampening the effect of the Word in their lives. Hence, the wet carpets. The casino reminds us that these people are still living firmly in the world, and to a large degree, they are still of the world. The fact that this is a direct contravention of God's instructions, who called us to be in the world but not of the world, is what is causing the uncertainty and chaos. Sadly, this is a true portrait of the average believer. Yes, he spends time in the Word of God, but he is not deep enough to leave behind the negative and destructive influences of this world. Then came the instruction to go deeper. Here, there was complete calmness and assuredness of direction. This represents what one finds by delving deeply into the Word. This Word is the builder of your faith and the conduit to your relationship with the Spirit. The deeper you go down into the things of the Word, the more you will leave the things of this world behind you, and your days will have balance, clarity, and purpose. Wow. Well, there's a whole lot in there. There's definitely a lot in there for you to study. So if you don't have a copy of the book, or you didn't get the digital download from Amazon, go back and watch this video and make some notes, because I really believe that if you truly embrace this concept, it's going to make a huge difference, not just in your life, but in the lives of everyone around you. So get yourself from that book into this book, because this is the one that matters. This is the one that contains the truth and the life. And that is just so important. Well, we'll see you back here again tomorrow at 11:11, and we'll carry on our journey through the book, Faith Without Religion. Have a wonderful day.